Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Shafi and welcome with another lesson of virtual class. We are going to take class 7 biology, and in this lesson we are going to learn about renewable energy sources, non-renewable energy sources, and environmental impact rating of industrial revolution. So let's start. First of all, renewable energy sources. A renewable energy source is a resource which can be used repeatedly and replaced naturally. Mean if we use it once, it can be reused again. It will not finish, or the nature has the ability to replace it. Like water is a source of energy, and it's a renewable source of energy. So it means the energy that we obtain from the water will be a renewable source of energy because we can reuse it. The energy, the methods that we are used to get energy from the water, they can be repeated again and again. So we will say the water is a renewable source of energy. Secondly, wind energy. It is also a renewable source of energy, can be reused again and again, and nature can provide wind repeatedly. So it will not finish. If we will increase, its increase will, the use will increase. So we can say the energy obtained from the wind is also a renewable energy. Solar energy is the biggest source of energy that is a renewable source of energy. In the diagram, you can see in the current, the latest life, how we convert the solar energy into the usable form of energy. And this is a free form of energy which is widely available. And till now, scientists are trying to use this source of energy as much as possible. So solar cells are used for that purpose, that convert the sun energy into the other forms of energy like heat energy and electrical energy. Next are non-renewable energy resources. These are just, we can say, the energy resources which are not renewable, which we cannot reuse again and again, like nuclear fuels. Nuclear fuels like uranium is used to get the energy, but it is a non-renewable energy source because we cannot reuse it. In the same way, fossil fuels, next we are going to learn about the fossil fuels also in the same lesson. Fossil fuels like coal, gas, these are all non-renewable resources of energy. We cannot use them repeatedly, so that is why we call them non-renewable energy resources. So let's talk in detail about fossil fuels. But before moving to that, one thing you have to keep in mind, that use of fossil fuel emit carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases. About the carbon dioxide, you are aware very well. What are the greenhouse gases? These are certain gases like methane, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, different oxides of nitrogen, and even water vapors also. Sometimes we take in the category of greenhouse gases. So the use of greenhouse gases can make the environment, uh, can put a bad impact on the environment. So that is why their use is avoided. Like here are the examples of fossil fuels you can see on the screen. Fossil fuel, we define these are the fuels obtained from dead remains of plants and animals. Like if you remember in previous units we study about organic and inorganic materials. So when any living organism die, any plant or any animal die, their bodies are buried inside the earth. So different decomposers decompose their body. So after decomposition, different fuels are obtained from their remains. This is a complete process in physics. In detail, we study how the fossil fuels are made actually. So these fuels are termed as fossil fuels. Like examples of the fossil fuels are coal, oil, all types of the oil like diesel, petrol. These all come in the category of the fossil fuels, and natural gas that we use is also a fossil fuel. So whenever a fossil fuel is used, it releases greenhouse gases and carbon dioxide in the environment. So it means if an activity will use the fossil fuels, so its EIR will be considered as negative. Like in the case of industrial revolution, when industrial revolution started, many activities started which involved the use of fossil fuels. uh, Industry always required a large amount of fossil fuels, so which as a result release different greenhouse gases and carbon dioxide in the environment. So we can say that the EIR, environmental impact rating, that we discussed in our last lesson, that if for an activity it releases more carbon dioxide, so we will say its EIR is negative. If an activity is environmental friendly, then we say its EIR is positive. So when industrial revolution started, it started using lot of fossil fuels. So on that basis, we can say EIR of industrial revolution is negative due to following reasons. These are the reasons because of that we can say that EIR of industrial revolution is negative. The first reason is, as we mentioned earlier, that it when it started, it increased the use of fossil fuels, and whenever the fossil fuels are used, fossil fuels emit carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases like nitrogen oxides and other oxides of nitrogen and methane even. So these gases harm the environment in a very bad way. So it means industrial revolution put a negative impact on the environment. So that's why we can say EIR of industrial revolution is negative. Another reason, when the industrial revolution started, with the start of industrial revolution, it increased the usage of chemicals, and when chemicals were used, the waste of the chemical also increased, and the waste of the chemical make the environment more polluted. So on that basis, we can also say that EIR of the industrial revolution is negative. In our next lesson, we will talk about the EIR of some other activities, EIR of the transport, EIR of different power stations like hydroelectric power station, nuclear power station, EIR of the wind farms, and EIR of the solar panels. Inshallah, in our next lesson, we will discuss.